What's going on, chicken friends? It's Donna Little from the Coop Scoop. I'm out here hanging out with my little almost 10-week-old pullets. I got to keep an eye on them while I've got them out. But a couple of weeks ago, I wanted to make a video about the things that can happen if chickens get bored. And I got sidetracked and completely forgot about it. But I think it was yesterday or the day before, somebody commented on a video, and I was out in the backyard and said, I bet it really helps that your chickens have that much space with to keep them from fighting. And I wish I, could do that. And I was like, it definitely makes a huge difference, because even though my chickens are adorable and look very, very sweet, they sometimes are not that sweet to each other. So it helps tremendously that they can all just go their separate ways and get away from each other. But it made me remember the video that I wanted to do, and I'm going to tell you, the absolute best way to keep your chickens from being bored is the absolute simplest way to keep your chickens from being bored. And I'm going to tell you one thing that I've done that is not sort of the main point of this video, but if I have to contain my chickens, and that's only if I go somewhere, I have them contained obviously at night, but if we go anywhere, we put our chickens back up into the coop in the run. If we have to do that, I have made sure that I have some roosts outside, and I think there's probably like 5 or 6 over there. And I can tell you right now, I've got a couple of chickens that are, Alice is definitely lowest in the pecking order, and then I've got a couple more that are pretty low in the pecking order, and almost immediately they will hop up onto the roost bars. And, I think it just makes them feel more comfortable. They know they're going to be in closer quarters with each other, and it can definitely, some of my top hens will start to bully a little bit. So that is something that I have, provided for them. So if you have a situation where your chickens are bored, most of the time that leads to aggression. And somebody's going to pick a fight with somebody, and it's no fun for anybody. It's not any fun for you. You don't want a chicken to get injured. It's no fun for the one getting bullied. And, I feel like it adds stress to even the top hens, because there is this, innate instinct in them that they have to keep their position. And so stressed out chickens tend to have lower immune systems, and it's just not a good situation. And they, a lot of times, are going to they'll form habits. If one always has access to another that always cowers to them, then sometimes it'll just become their habit for no reason to pick on that one chicken and bully it. And, if you can avoid bad habits from starting from the very beginning, you are already ahead of the game. So, aside from the roosts that I have provided for them, so that they can sort of get up off the ground, and I have them at different levels, some of them are lower to the ground, and they can hop up wherever they want. Easiest way. And I think a lot of, times you'll go to a video and you're like, I don't have time to do XYZ, or I don't have time or the money to spend buying a little ball that will roll around and dispense treats, that sort of thing. This is the simplest thing, and it is something that your chickens are already doing, is you are going to give them more of a reason to forage, because this is probably one of their most primal instincts, keeping themselves safe from predators and finding themselves food is one of the things that they're always doing. I mean, if they're not dust bathing or resting, they're foraging. So you're going to want to give them a little incentive to do that more and keep their little minds busy. And, I think a lot of people say chickens are stupid, they don't need stuff like that. That's ridiculous. They're not stupid. They're quite intelligent. They sometimes do stupid things, but, humans are way more intelligent, and we do a whole lot of stupid things. So they definitely learn. And one of the things, like, I'll tell you, I know I'm very fortunate that I can free range my chickens, but from the time that they were young, one of the things that we've always done, and our chicks, or whether not chicks anymore, they're pullets, but they're about to be 10 weeks old. We start bringing them something that they want and saying, chick, 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 and they will come run to us. So we trained our youngsters to do that from the time they were young, and now when we say that, they know they're about to get something good, and they will follow us right back into the run, even in the middle of the day. You know, there's no having to chase chickens around all over the yard when you're getting ready to go somewhere. But you want to give them something that's going to keep them occupied while they're in there. And if you aren't fortunate enough to be able to free range yours, or you just simply don't want to, just do something that'll keep them busy, and you don't have to spend a dime, and you don't really have to spend any time either setting this up. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but like if you're filling up your feeders and you spill some on the ground, literally almost 100% of the time, your chickens are not going to be eating from that feeder. They're eating what's off the ground. And especially if it's falling down into some straw or hay or whatever you've got down there on the ground, just grass or whatever, they immediately want to forage for it because they're hardwired to do this. This is something that's an activity for them. They actually love to forage for their food. They would prefer to look for it over having it just in a feeder or a bowl. So when I go anywhere, I don't want to make my girls obese. I live in the South. It's very, very hot here, so I don't give them a lot of things that they shouldn't eat. I don't give them a lot of, they do get a little bit of corn here and there as a treat, but I don't carb them up and give them a lot of things that they shouldn't have, especially when it's hot. So I just give them their feed. I literally, when they all come in, I throw a couple of handfuls of feed out here and there, and that'll keep them busy for a long, long time. Something else you can do, and I don't do this very often because I'm usually not gone for any length of time, you know, maybe an hour or 2 hours at the most. But one of the other things that I'll do sometimes is I'll give them something that's not super high value, something that they don't want to fight over. You know, like if I threw some eggs out there and then just left them alone, and there were enough for them to stay busy with for a while, which would have to be a lot of eggs, they would fight over them probably. You know, somebody would be pecking somebody in the head, and, you know. So I'll give them something that I know they like, but they don't really love, and it'll be something that they might not eat immediately, but they'll revisit it later. So I'll just take, like, you know, some squash from the garden or zucchini or something like that, cut it down the middle, and, you know, into maybe 4 big pieces, and put it here and there. And that'll also keep them busy, because even if it's something that they don't want to immediately eat, once they finished, you know, foraging around for the food that you've tossed out or their feed that you've tossed out, then they'll go and start nibbling on that. Something else that I do, and this is a win-win for me, is I do put straw under the covered area where in my run. So part of it's covered and part of it isn't covered. So I have straw down on the ground there. And when I go to do that, I'll just take like half a bale, you know, I'll rake up the old, and then I'll just take a half a bale of hay, and I just put it on the ground. And when you do that, the last time I did it, they were probably busy for 2 hours. And a busy chicken is a chicken that's not jonesing for a fight. If they have something to keep their mind occupied, they are constantly going to be looking for stuff to eat in there, and they're just going to be scratching away and working and trying to find whatever it is that might be a hidden treasure in there, and it's going to keep them happy and occupied. So I don't have roosters or a rooster, but I would think that this might help if they have to stay contained and you have a rooster that is, you know, maybe overbreeding 1 or 2 of your hens. I know a lot of times they'll pick a favorite, and, you know, they'll just really, you know, tear this poor chicken's back up. That might occupy them a little bit. I guess it would depend on how amorous your rooster was and how old he was. You know, maybe if he was not quite as young and, like I said, amorous, he might, you know, get sidetracked and not want to do that quite as often. But, yeah, just literally give them a reason to forage. And that is literally, it's going to take you no extra time. You're just tossing some food out that you were already bringing them anyway, and, you know, giving them something out of your refrigerator that you know they like, but, you know, aren't going to be squabbling over. And that is something that can occupy them. Now, you can make it a little bit more, difficult, I guess, or exciting if you want to, and hang things up. I see people, buy those little things that will hold a head of cabbage or something like that, but just cut it in half and throw it on the ground if you want to. You don't have to spend any extra money. You don't have to go on Amazon and find a little thing that'll roll around and dispense treats and stuff like that. You can literally just give them things that are healthy, things that you're already feeding them, but just let them hunt for it. And that is probably the easiest, quickest way you are going to keep your chickens occupied and hopefully create some good habits and keep them from wanting to bicker with each other and fight with each other and create more of a divide and maybe injure somebody and all that good stuff. So hopefully, if you especially are new to chicken keeping and you do have to keep yours contained, some of this was a little bit helpful to you. And I hope you guys will stick around. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss anything. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video.